Hey everyone, welcome to section 47. I am sorry that this video is 3 days late. Last week was a hectic inventory week for work, so we had a lot of stuff and prepping we had to do. So I just didn't have the time to devote to making a video. But I am making one now, so this is for Thursday. This is actually supposed to be last week's video on Thursday. There will not be a video coming out this week because I am going to be camping in North Carolina. So I will be cut off from everything. I might put little updates if I get cell service when we come into the village or whatever. But I highly doubt anything's going to be posting next week. So there will not officially, for sure, I'm not promising a video next week. Like I said, I might do clips on the road there or whatever, but nothing is planned. So we'll see what happens. So today, I hinted at it from the last episode, we're going to talk about Neuralink. Neuralink is a company from Elon Musk, another one, and about merging the human brain with computers. So the links below, some of the articles I read, plus the actual Neuralink website are going to be below. So if you want to check those out. There is really not a whole lot about this company other than they're hiring. I definitely saw that's on the main page. They're looking to hire. Thing that I'm looking at is Elon Musk did say that this is something for humans to compete with AI because he has a big fear of AI. I personally welcome our overlords because, hey, we're fucking it all up. Maybe they can do better. So with that being the case, that's what Neuralink is. Neuralink is basically, we don't have a whole lot of information from it. It is played to Elon Musk's chest, so there's a lot of speculation. There's been hints. So what it's looking like, it's a couple different things I've seen is, or the same thing really, is human brains will be able to connect to computers to make us smarter and think faster because then we'll have access to all the information of basically the internet. But then I also see another way of immortality that you might actually be able to upload your brain to the internet, to a computer itself, and which could eventually give you immortality. Which makes me think of altered carbon, where you could download and upload your brain. That would be weird. To say the least. I am not someone who's a fan of immortality. I have no desire to really live forever. That's not something I need in life. But there are possibilities that I could be interested. And I'm thinking more like Matrix style without the sinisterness and using humans as batteries and energy sources, which we're an horribly inefficient energy source. We'd be horrible batteries. So that's where this is leading me. This is leading me into a pure speculation. This is going forward pretty much is things that I would like to see. It's a whole concept. It would take probably a decade, if not two, to make this concept a reality. And it would have to be made a reality by people a hell of a lot smarter than I am. Although if I uploaded my brain and have all the knowledge of the internet, then I probably could do it. So to no further ado, this is what my idea would be if such a thing were to become a reality. So there's two possibilities, and first place I'm thinking is a game or even just a simulated world. So first possibility, think of like Skyrim or even Star Citizen. Very open worlds, very immersive, but let's make them better. So the way I see to make it better is, so this is where the long part would be. Game developer, the game company, whoever would, not Bethesda, I'm not saying they would be the one doing this. I'm just liking the idea of a Skyrim-esque style world because I do like the whole fantasy and magic aspect of it. But a Star Citizen, where it's very futuristic and more spacey, that could also be a really cool simulation to be living in. So let's say you upload yourself into a game, and I have two ways that it can be done. Either an online game, or as a self-contained, your own personal RPG. So now imagine your own personal RPG where every NPC was handcrafted by a human being. So let's say, you go to a Comic-Con in San Diego, or any other of the cons across the country. Hell, go to hit multiple cons. And you start handing out a survey for like a D&D sheet. But you are giving some guidance to the people because you're not going to be like, oh, make me a character for this game. And then, of course, everyone's a rogue, everyone's a wizard, everyone's a fucking cleric. No, these are all going to be NPCs. They're not the main character. Your character will be the main character in this situation. So you have an NPC sheet, and let's say, okay, you're a traveling merchant. But now as Now, the sheet would give you, as the person designing this NPC, to come up with this traveling merchant. So you're going to come up with a backstory, brothers, sisters, names, things that have happened in your life. You're going to leave some things vague. You can say like, oh, the Great War, because there's always a war. So you can get some guidance from the people designing the game. Oh, hey, there's going to be a major war. There's going to be this cataclysmic event to help you design your character. So you design your character in this fashion. You get all the NPCs going, you get all its backstory, things that they've done, things that they sell, things that they're adamant against. So maybe you have a merchant that completely hates puppies, and every time he sees a puppy, he goes into a fit of violent rage, and the villagers have to calm him down. Which, well, I would just execute the motherfucker at that point if he hates puppies. And so you have this whole backstory for the character. And then, using sociologists and even psychologists, you develop the basis of the character, but then they also have a survey where you fill out these questions to help really build the dynamic of this character. So it's not so much two-dimensional anymore, it's more three-dimensional. So this character has depth. Like I said, it would probably be a couple hundred questions. It would be a time-consuming endeavor. But just imagine that. You having 5 NPCs, you could talk to 5 NPCs walking through Skyrim, and each one of them has a different response. It's not, oh, I was an adventurer like you until I took an arrow to the knee. And every fucking village you walk into and every single guard that you run into is saying the exact same goddamn thing. So this way, it gives you more depth. It makes you feel like you're more immersed. And especially if you think about it, you're uploading your brain to this. I mean, you can even cheapen this down and drop it down to VR, so you can do like Oculus VR or PlayStation VR or something like this. But I'm saying balls to the wall, let's go full out and say we have the simulation where you're uploading your brain and you're living in a computer. And so everything you touch is real. You can smell everything. You can taste everything. And you feel. I would say, obviously, like the holodecks on Star Trek, let's put some safeties involved, where you can only feel so much and death takes you to a reset screen. So you don't actually die. And of course, this leads things to malfunctions, of course. But what's risk without reward? What's reward without risk? So you develop all these deep backstories, and you can actually immerse yourself into the video game. And now you're a part of it. You literally would have to do the blacksmithing to get the skills. Like, you have to do this. You can't just half-ass it. Because, how many times in Skyrim, let's be honest, you start the game and suddenly you're going to High Halfgar and now you're fucking facing that goddamn fucking troll. My first outing, Lydia died because the stupid woman couldn't run after me and follow me to safety. No, she had to fight the damn troll, which required a save. And I didn't save for like 3 or 2 hours or something, and everything else that I had done was gone. I'm not bitter or anything. Not at all. So you're developing this deep-rich characters, and now you're immersing into this game. You're exploring Skyrim, like, in my opinion, the way it should be explored. Or you're at Star City and you're flying your own starship. Especially imagine if, like, Star Trek Online involved this. I'm a big Trekkie, as you can probably tell. And just imagine being able to walk down the halls of the Enterprise, because you're in it, you're there. But that requires more work from graphic designers and game builders. You have to build a world. You can't have the stock world. You can do the walls at the edge of the game ship, but at that point you could just do like natural barriers, a super sheer cliff, or it's an ocean that you can't sail beyond, or something like that. You can make it more natural so it's not as clunky as, oh, I walked into a clear wall, but yet I see things after this. Why can't I go? So it would require more work on game designers, and that's why I'm saying this could be a 20-year, 10-year, 20, 30-year project. And I say, hey, start now. If Neuralink is going to become a fucking thing, start now. You're not going to start doing the graphic design or developing the game for this simulation. You're not doing that right now. Build the characters. Hell, even if you ended up just being like Sony VR or Oculus or something like that, where it's still just VR and it's clunky, but at least it's still more immersive. But put the effort into this game where everything has depth and every NPC is its own not playable character. That's not exactly what not an NPC is. But every NPC is its own character where you can actually have full conversations, because that's the point of the sociologist and the psychologist, is you have to use AI to work with you. Oh my God, Elon Musk would God, that would kill him to have AI into his Neuralink. Oh my God, he'd die. But you have an AI that can generate responses, but you're talking, the people developing this game, developing the NPC characters, they're talking to the people filling out these sheets. And the reason why I say do surveys, go to Comic-Cons, get multiple people to fill it out, is it's this way, each character has its own personality. If you have, let's say, 30 people designing all the NPCs for an open world game, you're going to have 30 of the same character. I mean, yeah, people can vary, but it's really 30 characters that are just going to be copied and pasted and applied to the other one because it's still your core personality. Do you know how many times I've tried to play Mass Effect as a renegade and I still end up as a paragon or at least mid-range? It's hard because it's my personality. So everyone would have their own personality. You're going to get some sadistic motherfucker who's going to be the serial killer of the world, and then you have to stop him. But it's not even a real mission. It's not even part of the missions. It's just there. And you could let the NPC continuing murdering people, or you could actually do something about it. And these missions, using an AI in conjunction with it, these missions would generate themselves. There wouldn't be an actual, it would be like living life, but in a complete Westworld, basically, without the whole overhead, where the game is adapting and evolving to you and the things and decisions you make, and the game becomes your world. Can you just imagine that? How awesome that would be. Imagine being at the helm of the Enterprise, and then you get promoted, and suddenly now you're captain, or you say, fuck the Enterprise. I want to join Section 31. I'm going to be a sadistic dark motherfucker. Do it. I mean, just imagine the possibility. You could open up so much science fiction as well. So you're not just having like Star Trek Online, which are games we know, or Skyrim, or Elder Scrolls Online, or Star Citizen, or even along the lines of Fallout or Mass Effect. I mean, you could play those games. Those games could be adapted to it. Yeah, it'll have more limitations, but you still could be inside Commander Shepard. You're there. You're in the battle. You're fighting the Reapers. Just imagine that effect. But now you start developing other games. Like, it would just lead to so much more of an entertainment monopoly. I mean, imagine all the money. I'm serious. Like, this is something I'm like legit. Someone wanted to get with me. Let's work on this shit. I'm down. But imagine all the money that can be made. You fucking have a world for someone for Dukes of Hazzard who just loved the Dukes of Hazzards, and now that's a thing. You have Knight Rider, where that's an actual game. The A-Team. Imagine being in the fucking A-Team. And not the new one. The old one with George Papard. Was that his name? I think that was his name. It's been a long time since I've seen him. Or you're MASH with Pierce and Honeycutt. Oh my God. And Colonel Potter and Radar. I mean, it would just open up the world. So much money can be made off of this. It would be a gold mine. Now imagine how much money you can make in-game. And I mean, that is you as the character. You could this is where it leads to online. Okay. So let's say you really are into Skyrim. Maybe you're a blacksmith, but you've mastered the art of making armor. So now, if you can take your game that you have built, and you could either take it online into an open world environment, which of course there's going to be adaptations. There'll be some things obviously not destroyable. Some missions won't go through. That's fine. Allocations and allotments have to be made. You have to make some sacrifices. There's ways it could work, and I have it worked out in my head. I just don't know how long it would take me to get it out. But now just imagine. You take your world. Now you're a blacksmith in the Skyrim world, in Elder Scrolls. Ding, 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 ding. Character from Texas comes over and says, hey, I like this armor. I want to buy it. And you're like, oh, it's going to be this much gold. And now you're making gold. And you could actually, people can make fork over actual money for this. I mean, there's ways that this could be done because you're a blacksmith, but you're a character. So now you can legitimately be paid. Because you're like, I'm not taking actual gold. Because this is custom built, no other character can build this unless they really want to put the work into it. And you can actually make legit money because the person's actually say, oh, I'll pay you $300 for it. And now you're like, ding, 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 ding. Ding, 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 ding. Oh man, imagine a Spaceballs game. That would be great. So anyway, back to there are lots of negatives, which I'll talk about in a second. But so now you can actually make legitimate money. So there is ways that this could be monetized, and it could be and Neuralink could open and revolutionize a whole new market and a whole new industry and a shit ton of money. I mean, it could really work. And I think it would work. But now imagine you want to limit online. So this is my next proposal idea. It's more of a hybrid between self-contained RPG and an online MMORPG. So the hybrid thing is you just want to play with your friend. So I got a buddy down the road, we both play Skyrim. We merge our two worlds, and the game's going to default to the lower, let's say the lower ranking or the less damaged character, I guess I could say. So say like maybe in my buddy's game, level 100, Lydia's dead, Alduin's dead, all that good shit. But then the other person is level 25, Lydia's still with him, and let's say the level 100 character killed the one blacksmith in River Run, which I did on my first out because I accidentally killed the chicken, and then the entire village attacked me. And then I just started swinging my sword wildly, and then I killed the person I needed to talk to, and then his body was just on the ground, and I couldn't talk to him. And then I couldn't progress that mission any further. So then it'll default to the character that... So basically, if a character is dead in one player's game, but the character is alive in the other player's game, it's going to default to the alive character. And let's say like you're in a destructive environment, maybe you destroyed all of Whiterun, which I know is not possible, but let's say it is in this game. This is the future. But in the higher ranked character, Whiterun is still intact, but the lower ranking character destroyed Whiterun. Well, it's going to default to non-destruction, I guess. Non-destruction, non-death. So characters that may have been dead, unless it's like a mission quest type game. But even then, it's not going to be that way because maybe it's a main mission that the lower character didn't do, but the big character did. So now you can still go back and kill him. Gives the higher ranking character the chance to redo mission, earn some points, earn some bounty, earn some loot. So it would default to that. And that's just something I started thinking about when I read about Neuralink. And I talked to a friend who just loved the idea of uploading himself into the computer and living forever. If I could live forever in these fantasy worlds, I would take it. I would go for immortality there, because especially if new games were coming out and being developed. But I mean, let's be real. It fucking sucks. Humans suck. We're destroying this planet. We're destroying each other. We do some awful things to each other. Now, just imagine, in Skyrim you can do some awful things to each other. But in Skyrim, you could literally fight someone. You see someone raping a baby in Skyrim or whatever game you're playing. You could literally go over to that person, kill them, and nothing is going to happen to you. And I'm not promoting vigilantism in any way, shape, or form, because we do have the rule of law, but that's the point of living in the real world versus a fantasy world. Fantasy gives you a lot more opportunity to accomplish things. Now, some of the negatives to this whole world. One, you're going to be fully immersed. So what happens to your body? Now, if your body is hooked up into this and your brain's uploaded, what happens if your body dies? No one's there taking care of your body. How do you get fed? Will you feel hunger if you're feeling hunger in your game, is that real hunger of your body? And your body's like screaming out food, but then you're eating the game, so then your mind's thinking you're full, and then your body dies, and now you're like, hey, I'm going to transfer, I'm going to go visit my mom in the real world. And then you're like, I can't transfer, body dead. And now you're stuck in a virtual environment for the rest of your life. I mean, these are problems that would have to be addressed and solved. And then, again, who's paying for it? And then if you have so much of the world living in a fantasy land, does anything in the real world ever get done? I mean, does human progress, do we actually ever go explore space? Or do we just explore space in a virtual environment and we don't actually encounter new life and new civilizations because we're stuck in a computer the rest of our lives? I mean, these are different things. I mean, granted, yes, you could maybe have robots building spaceships, and now you upload your consciousness to the computer in the spaceship, and maybe you have android avatar bodies that you can explore the real world in. But then you stop. You don't feel it with your senses. You don't actually see it. You don't feel, the wind of another planet on your face. You don't smell, the flowers in the air. You don't taste new foods. I mean, you're tasting with synthetic senses, but does it really count? Is a synthetic sense going to really be able to encapsulate the true human experience of the true human senses of really just being in the moment and experiencing it? I mean, it would take away from that. So you have to have a balance. And let's look at our addictive society. I mean, human society in general, we're all addictive. Not all. I mean, that's a big, broad, wrong generalization. But if people could just choose to live in that environment the rest of their lives, I think many of them would make that choice. and then the human's experience would be completely gone. I mean, there is a lot of negative that can become to it. I mean, because you're going to have people that will never leave. I mean, if you are a Star Trek fan, remember the holo addiction that Reginald Barclay had. I mean, he was just way out there, and it was very hard for him to break that addiction. And I just feel like there would be a lot more cases like that. And I think Star Trek only addressed it really like once with him. And maybe the Doctor a little bit could say he had a slight holo addiction with his little Tinker Talker Denner Doctor Spy when he had that whole like different personalities that he was running. But they only showed like one case, and like, you know, Troy said, "Oh, it's a recognized condition." But I just really think there'd be a hell of a lot more of those people that would have that holodeck or simulation addiction, where they're going to be thrown into it, which would also, again, sad to say, would open a whole new industry for therapists and psychologists and stuff like that to work people through it. And then how do you get that addiction? And then what about the super rich people? What if you can download yourself into a body and it ends up like Altered Carbon, where you can literally download your body into a body that you design, or you can keep cloning your own body and live forever, and you just keep downloading it. So there are downsides to it. Because, I mean, how much production is actually going to get done? Not much. I mean, the world, I think, would start to stagnate at that point. Human innovation might even start to stagnate. And AIs would start to rule a role. I mean, these are just it can get very dystopian. At the same time, it could be incredibly awesome and cool. So it's just a matter of how do we walk that happy line? How do we find that medium? And who knows if we can. I mean, we have, as humans, done some amazing things in our history, but we've also done plenty of horrible things. I mean, imagine if, like, you could capture someone's their brain, they're uploaded into a simulation. But now, let's say a hacker or an evil entity or government organization says, "Hey, now I have your consciousness on this USB thumb drive." I'm being very obviously simplistic here, but now I have your consciousness. I can literally control you. I can let you out or not let you out. And now you're stuck. And now, is that death? I mean, let's say you're in a thumb drive. Thumb drive is not plugged into a computer. It doesn't have power. So it's like, are you dead? What medical see? And then if you're someone who believes in souls, where does that go? Well, how does that happen? How does your soul translate into the virtual environment? So it leaves so much open and so much out there. And I mean, you can go on this, we can go into a very philosophical rabbit hole, and we can just keep going down and down. And this is definitely a conversation I would like to have with you. Let me know in the comments below. I mean, hell, like I said, my Discord's on there. My gamer tag for Xbox is on there for my About Me's and stuff like that. Let's have this conversation. Maybe this is something we can talk about. Till then, let me know. Like, comment, subscribe. And I want to know your thoughts on this whole very interesting, awesome subject. All right, like I said, there's not going to be a video this coming week, so there will not be one on Thursday. I might pop some mobile vids here and there. I can't make any promise on that. I am going to North Carolina. I'm camping in the Smoky Mountains. We're going to be hiking through all that stuff, going through Tennessee. So I don't know where I'll be at a given day or time. We didn't plan that far ahead. We're just kind of winging it. So let me know what you think. All right, guys, see you later. And maybe see you guys in 2 weeks or less than that. We'll see how it goes. I might pop some mobile videos while we're driving down. It is a 9-hour drive. All right, you'll see you guys.